In studio with me, candidate for HD 83 on the Democratic side. Right now, the only Democrat running, Drew Landry. Drew, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you, Chad. Thank you.
Oh, there you go. Very nice.
Thank you so very much. This is a beautiful studio. You're a beautiful guy behind the wall there. You're beautiful.
You're talking to Jody. It's very good. Okay.
You're very good. This is a beautiful thing. This is the best show. It's the best. I only say the best, and if I say it's the best, then you are the best. Now, so it's the best.
Is that how you're going to? Is that how your campaign? Are you going to go like Democratic Donald Trump?
Like you mean like in a boisterous,
something like that
kind of way?
Yeah.
I don't. I think it's more about the issues.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm going to try to stick to.
Well, good. Well, I appreciate you coming in today. It was
Absolutely.
It was a good impersonation. I'll give you.
Well, thank you.
I've
been able to do the impersonation since I was like 6.
Okay.
So I can do a few others. Like Obama was pretty tough. Like he does this really long and then a quick thing. Like, look, what we have to do is something here.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Anyway. Let's see. You're a professor at South Plains College,
yes,
correct?
Sir, I am. Yes, sir.
Tell folks first off just a little bit about yourself because they may not know who Drew Landry is.
Right. Well, thank you for that. Yeah, I moved down here 5 years ago to take the job at South Plains College. I'm originally from Southwest Indiana with a lot of corn, a lot of rural areas around there. Kind of familiar to this part. And really, if you just take the corn out of Southwest Indiana, you add cotton, you have West Texas. And so I moved down here 5 years ago for the job at SPC. I've been there ever since. I never really wanted to get involved in West Texas politics. It wasn't my ambition. But what I found was with education being a problem for a lot of people in Austin, I felt like that was a call for me to really want to get involved. Well, and so that's what spurred me to get involved.
Well, and that's what I was about to ask you is what was that? What was the tipping point? Was it higher ed, just education overall, that made you go, okay, I know I'm in West Texas, mm-hmm. I'm a Democrat,
yep.
and I want to run for state rep in a pretty red area.
Right.
You got to have something to really pump you up in the running.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And yeah, it was when I was seeing students who were asking me what they needed to know for things, and I'm going, well, the entire subject. And so what I looked into, I actually studied that a little more and found that the root of the problem was standardized exams, and that led to the whole problem with the aspect of public schools. So we need somebody with an advocate who's going to be on the side of public schools and the teachers. And right now, in my opinion, I don't think we really have that.
Why is that?
Well, my legislator, hopefully my future opponent, just likes to talk about we need to fund rural schools. That's really all he has to say about it. He doesn't understand the nuances or the intricacies of education, what it's like to be in front of the classroom, the ongoing problems that persist with that. And teachers need somebody who's going to stand up for them. And I wanted to tell them, you finally have somebody who's going to be able to hear what you have to say about those things.
So what is maybe a piece of legislation or something that you would like to see done down in Austin that's not being done right now?
Okay. One of the things that I think is incredibly wrong is a lot of the legislators like to take money out of TRS, the teacher retirement system, and to fund other things. And I think that's one of the things that has to be stopped. That's a promise that they made to those retired teachers. And that's something that has to absolutely be stopped. Another thing I'd like to really think about here is dealing with our infrastructure. Everything revolves around education, but I'm not just a single issue type of a person here, because we have to think about the future of West Texas. Because if you go to a school and you want to get, and say you don't want to go to college, say you want to get a job or go in the military afterwards, the investments need to be made into vocational and technical programs to where you can graduate high school and then move on to work at Halliburton or whatever particular job. Because I talked to a county commissioner in Terry County, and he told me, he goes, they're begging for jobs. Halliburton wants them there. And so they're just don't have a lot of clientele who's ready to take those particular things. So we need to make sure students are either college ready if they want to be, or job ready. once they graduate high school. And I think the curriculum is where we have to really examine on those things.
Does that mean getting rid of standardized testing?
That is something I would like to see done. I think a lot of local control when it comes to that, how they want to measure either growth or proficiency would be a great thing when it comes to the schools. I think the less testing we have is better for students and better for teachers.
Does there need to be more money put towards education funding?
Well, when it comes to that, you'll always have the answer will be yes, and of course that's for every program. We need more money for everything. I want it to be adequately funded. I think there's a lot of good programs out there that need to be that need to have the proper funding, and so those are things we always have to remember. Education is the number one part of the budget, and it should be. And what other ideas when it comes to that, when it comes to something like school vouchers and all that, that's something that I'm just absolutely against.
And of course, it keeps being brought up down in Austin, and I think right now that it's not going to go. Obviously, it's not going to go anywhere in this session.
Yes,
I don't anticipate it going anywhere in majority of future sessions.
Right.
But it's going to keep being brought up.
Yes.
Education savings accounts.
Yes.
As of right now, House is completely against it.
Mm-hmm.
And you had even out here the West Texas contingent in the House who said, no, we're not going to take money from education and put it towards any type of voucher, education savings account, or whatever.
Right.
Good enough or not good enough?
I think that's okay, but that's a good start. I mean, my legislator is open to the idea of talking about education savings accounts. He's been quoted in that in several pieces. And I think that is something that leads down to a very bad road when it comes to public education.
Why should parents not be able to get some of that money back and say, you know what, maybe in a large area, obviously not all rural areas can do this, but, in maybe a Lubbock or in a Dallas or a Houston or an Austin, say, you know what, I would like to have a little bit of extra money to put towards my kid's private school and move them out of this failing school into this private school. Why not have that?
That's a good question. And when it comes to the aspect of school choice, even the superintendent of Lubbock LISD will tell you, well, I'm in favor of school choice, so you being able to within the school district choose what school you want to go to.
Yeah, here you can do that.
Yeah,
not everywhere though.
That's exactly right. But the reason that I would tell somebody either from Houston or from Dallas or something like that is that I don't represent you. I represent the 83rd district, which is mainly a rural area, and just a little bit of Lubbock. And if we start down this road, we're going to be seeing schools like Wellman and Seminole and even Borden County going to be locking up a lot of their schools, and these children won't have any place to go to learn anything, and I don't think that's a very good response to them.
When we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Professor Drew Landry, Democratic candidate for HD 83. When we come back, we'll get into some other issues with him and find out his stance on a few issues that have come up in this session, the past session, and what may come up in future sessions down in Austin. We'll be right back. Chad Hasty Show, KFYO. Welcome back to the Chad Hasty Show, News Talk, 95.1 FM, 790 AM, KFYO. Drew Landry, Democratic candidate for HD 83 in studio. You announced your candidacy, a couple of weeks ago? Is that right?
On Saturday.
On Saturday, okay.
Yes.
But I think your name had popped up a little bit before then, but officially started on Saturday.
That's correct.
Let's go. Listen, in order to win, you know this, you're going to have to get you're going to have to find Democrats who haven't voted in a really long time, or you're going to have to get Republicans to switch over. Right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's kind of go through some issues that have come up in this session, past sessions, because in order to win, I think Republicans would have to say, okay, besides Democratic talking points, I need to know where I agree with you. So let's start off on the issue of guns.
Okay.
Campus carry.
Yeah. Okay.
For it or against it?
Well,
I know it's settled, but
but before I answer that question, I want to show you my card here. I'm a member of the NRA, and so what I mean by that, I mention that because I'm all for the Second Amendment, and I think there are ways where our gun laws are fine. Campus carry is an issue. I actually served on the task force at South Plains College to try to figure out where the dividing line would be, where one could carry and one could not. Concealing it, look, there's probably students who were carrying, probably had their gun in their backpack and nobody ever knew about it.
Sure.
So, we just never knew about it. And so we still won't know about it. And as a professor, I could ask them, hey, you carrying? But they could just tell me to go kick rocks,
Right.
Whereas all that, look, it's meant to do safety. The legislature found it in their wisdom to do that. That's,
If you were there, how would you have voted on it?
I would have thought, what do college presidents want? What do all groups of this thing feel that this is going to be? And so I'd have to look at that and go, is this going to make people safer or is it not? Probably I would have thought real long and hard about it because this is an issue for a lot of people, and there aren't that many people who have a license to carry. And I would have said, probably I probably would have not voted for it.
Okay. Yeah. Constitutional carry. It's an issue that it will come up at some point on the House floor.
Yeah.
If you're there, how would you vote on that?
Yeah, I would vote no on that. It is not an undue burden for somebody to go get a license. I think a lot of responsible gun owners don't want unresponsible gun owners to be able to carry around whatever weapon that they want. And I think it is perfectly fine for any person to go get a license and to take that class and to do those things. That's well within your confines of being responsible. That's not a problem. And so that's something that is perfectly an undue burden. Yeah.
Let's see. Sanctuary cities.
Yeah.
How would you have voted?
Okay. Well, if SB 4 would have came down and I would have been there, I got to examine all the data that's there. And I'm not about pulling families apart. I'm not about having felons stay. So my take on this is with President Clinton and President Obama on this. If you go and you are pulled over for failing to stop at a stop sign, I don't think that's an offense to be put away and shown your papers and sent back to wherever your national origin is. I think if you are caught with an axe in your hand and the head lying down and it's pretty much you, that's a pretty good reason for you to go, to be deported. I think there's a fine line here when it comes to non-serious offenses and serious offenses.
Okay, so you would have voted no.
I would, yeah.
All right, SB2. I know you've brought this up before. Property taxes.
Yep.
Where are you on SB2?
Yeah, I'm with the county commissioners and the county judges on this.
So you vote no.
I vote no. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I know you. I got.
I'm trying to find a play. Okay,
I got to find some context here.
All right, no,
got to find some context.
Okay, so to those Republican voters who are out there, that you've got to win over.
Right.
I just mentioned a few things.
Yep.
Some pretty big things. Property taxes.
Yep.
Guns.
Yep.
And sanctuary cities.
Okay.
Immigration.
Yep.
You didn't agree with the Republicans on any of them.
Well, see.
So what's the Republican voter? Tell me.
Yeah.
Or I guess tell me. Here in about 2 minutes.
Yeah.
What do you agree with Republican voters, or what would they agree with you on?
Okay. Look, when it comes to all that sort of thing here, if we look at the Republican county judges and the Republican county commissioners, they don't like SB2 either.
Yeah, but the voters do.
So, but they were elected by voters who they campaigned and wanted them there.
Sure.
But I'm all against unfunded mandates. And the reason that they have to do those sort of things is because the state doesn't want to fund particular programs, and they say, oh, now figure out a way to pay for it. That's not fair to those people. It's not fair to taxpayers either. We have to fight these unfunded mandates that are causing our property taxes to go up.
Okay.
So
we got to take one more break.
Sure.
When we come back, we'll have a couple more minutes. When we come back, we'll have more with Drew Landry, Democratic candidate for HD 83. All right, Chad Hasty Show, News Talk, 95.1 FM, 790 AM. KFYO. Drew Landry, Democratic candidate for HD 83 in studio. We did have a drive-by caller, and their question was, you're a professor over at South Plains College.
Yeah.
What do you teach?
I teach government.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
that's what I thought.
Yeah, I teach government, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Something that you may get a question of, and this may come more from Democrats than Republicans. I don't know.
Yeah.
There is it's not talked about a lot, but there's a divide among Democrats right now. You've got Bernie Sanders' wing. In the primary, you had a huge Bernie Sanders versus Hillary Clinton.
Right.
Where would you consider yourself on that line? Are you more of a because there's, you have the Elizabeth Sanders, Bernie Sanders wing of the Democratic Party. You have the Hillary Clinton wing of the party. Where would you say you are?
Yeah. Well, being here from Southwest Indiana and being in West Texas, I'm more of what's called a blue dog Democrat. And what I mean by that is I'm somewhat moderate on a lot of social issues, but I'm kind of more progressive when it comes to like more financial things like schools and labor and all that sort of thing. So that's where I kind of find myself. But that whole idea there, of what we experienced in 2016 was it was a healthy primary. We tried our best to get united as we could. I sought out a lot of people saying, "Look, it's over. Let's come together," and that's just how that went down.
Who did you like in that?
Personally, I like both of them. Yeah. I really did. I liked Bernie's energy, his passion. I liked Hillary's pragmatism. I liked her leadership capabilities. Both of them, to me, just said, "Hey, I could be a very effective president." So.
You said consider yourself kind of a blue dog Democrat.
Yeah.
The new head of the Democratic Party came out and said something that I don't know. As a blue dog, you may have. I don't know if you agreed or disagreed.
No.
He said that if you're not pro-choice, you can't be a Democratic candidate.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think? And where do you fall on that? Because that's another big issue out here.
That's a very good point there. All due respect to Chairman Perez, he's kind of out to lunch on this. What keeps us together isn't necessarily women's rights, even though that is an ongoing a battle for them, because I'll be honest with you, they know a lot more about that stuff than I do, and I know my place. I don't tell them, no way. I take a poll in all my classes, how many of you ladies like it when a legislature full of men tell you what to do with your parts, and none of them raise their hand on that. So you're married, I'm not. So, so there's that. But, I think one thing that there should be a litmus test, and it should be public education. I think that's where we need to really find out if you're a Democrat or not. I don't really think that Chairman Perez he was trying to get more enthusiasm and all that, and I understand that, but I think he.
So it sounds like you disagree with him on that, but
I do.
Would you consider yourself pro-choice when it comes to legislation that is going to come up? It comes up every session.
Every single session, it's always there. I'm pro-life, except in instances of rape, incest, or the life of the mother's in danger. But I also want us to understand something, that I'm not a woman. I'll never know what it's like to be raped or to have to carry my attacker's child or any of those things. And I think barring any kind of choice on that particular issue in those circumstances is unfathomable.
I got 40 seconds left. Right. Tell folks where they can find you online.
Great. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, Landry for West Tex. My website is www.landryforwesttex.com. And one thing I want to mention here is that we have a leader who didn't vote for Speaker Strauss in 2015. He needs to be held accountable for that. And that's why he's jumping around and trying to get everywhere that he can to make people forget about it. So,
Drew, I hope to have you back on in the future. Appreciate you coming back on coming on the show on Right Wing Media.
Right Wing Media, you're right. Your hair's fantastic.
Thank you.